You're not unlucky. You're not forgotten. Opportunities are not something that pass you by because the universe doesn't favor you. The truth is, opportunities are always around you, circling like hidden doors waiting for you to notice. Some people live their entire lives waiting for chance, while others seem to pull success into their orbit with ease. What's the difference? The difference is magnetism, and today, you're about to learn how to stop chasing opportunities and start attracting them. Introduction. This audiobook is not about tricks, hacks, or quick fixes. It's about reshaping the way you think, act, and show up in the world so that success becomes inevitable. You've probably been told that if you just work harder, grind longer, and outlast everyone else, doors will eventually open. But how many people do you know who've been working themselves to exhaustion without moving closer to their dreams? The missing piece is not effort, it's alignment. Effort without direction is like running on a treadmill, exhausting but stationary. Alignment is when your thoughts, your habits, and your presence create a pull so strong that opportunity has no choice but to find you. That's what it means to become an opportunity magnet. Over the next 30 chapters, you will uncover the principles that turn ordinary individuals into extraordinary attractors of success. You'll learn how to shape your mindset, master your habits, and refine your energy so that you stop knocking on closed doors and instead see new doors open effortlessly. You'll discover how confidence, clarity, and persistence work together to create momentum, how fear disguises itself as logic, and how to position yourself so that the right people, places, and possibilities are drawn to you. This is not theory. These are timeless truths used by leaders, visionaries, and everyday people who decided to stop waiting and start attracting. Chapter 1. The Magnetic Mindset. Every great transformation begins with a decision, not with money, not with connections, not even with talent, but with the simple, powerful decision to see yourself differently. The mindset you hold is the most powerful magnet in your life. It is constantly broadcasting silent signals to the world, attracting or repelling opportunities depending on what you believe. If you believe you are limited, unworthy, or destined for less, you will unconsciously repel opportunities. It's not because those opportunities don't exist. They're everywhere, all around you. It's because you won't even recognize them when they appear. Imagine walking through a crowded city wearing blindfolds. People are moving, doors are opening, signs are glowing, but you cannot see any of it. That's what living with a limiting mindset feels like. The chance is there, but your vision is too clouded to notice. Now picture the opposite. Imagine carrying the mindset of possibility. Instead of blindfolds, you wear a lens that highlights openings, connections, and pathways. Where others see dead ends, you see detours that lead to new beginnings. Where others see rejection, you see redirection. This is not magic, it is awareness, sharpened by belief. The truth is, your outer world will always reflect your inner world. Think of a garden. If the soil is dry, rocky, and filled with weeds, nothing beautiful will grow, no matter how many seeds you plant. But if the soil is rich, nourished, and tended with care, growth is inevitable. Your mind is that soil. Scarcity, fear, and doubt create rocky ground. Possibility, belief, and resilience create fertile soil. If you want abundance, you cannot keep watering the weeds of limitation. Here's the trap most people fall into. They spend their lives staring at doors that have already closed. They replay failures, obsess over mistakes, or hold on to resentment. But staring at a closed door keeps you from seeing the open ones right next to it. The magnetic mindset is not about ignoring pain or pretending losses don't matter. It's about refusing to let yesterday's closed door define tomorrow's opportunities. Self-belief is the cornerstone of this mindset. If you don't believe you are worthy of more, you will sabotage yourself before life even has a chance to offer it. This doesn't mean blind arrogance or pretending you're perfect. It means trusting that you are capable of learning, growing, and rising to the occasion. It means looking in the mirror and saying, I may not be there yet, but I am worthy of the journey. Resilience is the second pillar. No magnet attracts consistently without strength. Life will test you. You will fail, you will fall, you will face rejection. But resilience is what keeps the magnet strong, even in storms. Every challenge you survive increases your capacity to attract bigger opportunities. The mindset of resilience doesn't ask, "Why me?" It asks, "What can I learn here? How can this shape me for the better?" The third element is vision. A magnet always knows what it is pulling toward. Without vision, your attraction is scattered and weak. Vision sharpens your pull. When you know who you want to become and what you want to create, you broadcast a clear signal that draws aligned opportunities. Vision is not about predicting the future. It's about painting it in your mind so vividly that it begins to feel inevitable. Once you decide you are worthy of opportunity, once you choose to build self-belief, resilience, and vision, you activate a field of attraction that changes everything. People will notice something different about you. Doors that once seemed locked will crack open. Ideas will flow, connections will appear, and what once felt impossible will begin to feel natural. The magnetic mindset doesn't change the world around you first. It changes you, and then the world responds. This is where the journey begins. If you want to attract opportunity, don't start by asking for more. Start by asking yourself, what kind of magnet am I right now? What beliefs am I broadcasting? And am I ready to decide, fully and finally, that I am worthy of everything I've been seeking? Because the moment you do, your life begins to change. Chapter 2. The Power of Clarity. If mindset is the magnet, then clarity is the direction of its pull. Without clarity, even the strongest magnet spins aimlessly, attracting fragments that don't fit and scattering your energy across distractions. Clarity is not just about knowing what you want. It's about sharpening your focus so that opportunities can recognize where they belong in your life. Most people live in a fog of vagueness. They say they want success, but they can't define what that means for them. They say they want more money, but they don't know how much or why. They say they want happiness, but they don't know what experiences would actually create it. And when you are vague, life gives you vague results. You get half chances, unfinished paths, and opportunities that never fully match what you need because you never declared what you needed in the first place. Imagine going to a restaurant and telling the waiter, "Just bring me food." You might get something you don't like. You might get too much or too little. You might even sit there hungry because the waiter has no idea what to serve you. That's exactly what happens when you send unclear signals to life. But if you sit down and say, "I'll have the grilled salmon with lemon, steamed vegetables on the side, and a glass of water," you are far more likely to get exactly what you envisioned. Life works the same way. The more precise you are, the more aligned the response. Clarity is powerful because it simplifies decision-making. When you know where you're going, you stop wasting time on detours that don't serve you. Every opportunity, every invitation, every distraction can be filtered through one question. Does this move me closer to what I've declared? If the answer is no, you let it go. If the answer is yes, you lean in with confidence. Clarity cuts through noise like a blade, keeping your energy focused and sharp. But here's the thing. Clarity is not something you wait for. It's something you create. People often say, "I'm still figuring out what I want," as if clarity will someday knock on their door. It won't. Clarity is born from exploration, reflection, and the courage to decide. It begins when you take time to ask yourself powerful questions. What kind of life do I want to live? What values matter most to me? What do I want to be remembered for? When you give yourself the space to answer honestly, your vision becomes clearer. Think about a sculptor standing before a block of marble. At first, it's just a formless stone, but as the sculptor chips away piece by piece, a shape begins to emerge. That's what clarity feels like. It doesn't always come in one grand vision, but in small, consistent decisions that carve away the unnecessary and reveal the masterpiece underneath. When you begin to walk with clarity, the world responds differently to you. People take you more seriously because you take yourself seriously. Doors open faster because you knock with purpose. The right opportunities seem to appear because you've trained your mind to recognize them. The truth is, they were always there. You just didn't see them through the fog. Clarity is magnetic because it communicates strength. People are drawn to those who know who they are and where they're headed. It's why leaders attract followers, why visionaries attract investors, why confident voices attract attention. You don't have to have all the answers, but you must have a direction. Even a ship that changes course begins by setting sail toward a destination. So, ask yourself, what do I truly want? Not what others expect of me, not what sounds impressive, but what resonates with my heart and my values. Then ask, what is the first step I can take in that direction? The moment you decide, you send a clear signal into the world, and opportunity begins aligning itself to meet you. Clarity is not a luxury, it's a necessity. Without it, your energy is scattered. With it, your magnetism doubles in power. The clearer you are, the more the universe can conspire to deliver exactly what you asked for. Stop waiting for clarity to arrive. Begin creating it, and watch how fast opportunity finds its way to you. Chapter 3. Confidence creates pull. Confidence is not arrogance. It is not about being the loudest person in the room or pretending to know everything. True confidence is quiet strength. It is the unshakable belief that you belong, that you are capable, and that you deserve the opportunities that come your way. When you carry that belief, you radiate an energy that others can feel, and that energy creates pull. Opportunities, at their core, are not abstract things floating in the air. They come through people. People recommend you for jobs. People introduce you to networks. People invest in your ideas. And people are drawn to confidence, because confidence signals trust. When you trust yourself, others instinctively feel they can trust you too. That's why two people can walk into the same room, one quietly certain of their worth, and the other hesitant and unsure, and leave with completely different results. The confident one leaves with opportunities, while the hesitant one leaves wondering why they were overlooked. But confidence is not something you wait to feel, it's something you build. Too many people think, once I succeed, I'll feel confident. But the truth is, you have to act confident before success arrives. Confidence is both the cause and the effect. It grows with practice, with action, and with persistence. Every time you step forward despite doubt, every time you speak up when it feels uncomfortable, every time you choose courage over silence, you strengthen your confidence muscle. Think of a magnet again. A weak magnet attracts very little. It pulls lightly, inconsistently, often losing what it tried to hold. A strong magnet, however, pulls powerfully and holds firmly. Confidence works the same way. Weak self-belief attracts hesitation, and hesitation causes opportunities to slip away. Strong self-belief, on the other hand, creates a gravitational pull that draws the right chances and holds them in your orbit. Let me give you a picture. Imagine two people interviewing for the same role. One knows they are skilled, but they are plagued with self-doubt. Their voice trembles, their posture closes in, and their answers are apologetic, filled with words like maybe and I'm not sure. The other candidate may not be more talented, but they walk in tall, speak with clarity, and communicate certainty. Who gets the role? 9 times out of 10, it's the confident one. Not because they were the most qualified, but because they projected belief. Confidence creates pull. Now here's the truth. Confidence is not about having all the answers. It's about believing that whatever comes, you can handle it. It's about saying, I may not know everything now, but I know I can learn, adapt, and rise. That kind of mindset is magnetic because people are drawn to reliability, and reliability is born from inner trust. If you struggle with confidence, start small, stand taller, look people in the eye, speak with clarity, not apology, keep promises to yourself. Confidence grows every time you prove to yourself that you can trust your own word, and the more confidence you build, the more opportunities are drawn into your life. The world rewards those who step into rooms as if they belong there, not with arrogance, not with superiority, but with calm certainty. When you walk with that energy, people notice. Opportunities notice. Because confidence is not just about how you feel, it's about how the world feels when it is around you. So ask yourself, am I moving through life with hesitation, waiting for permission to feel worthy? Or am I ready to carry myself with the certainty that I belong in every space I enter? The moment you choose confidence, you become magnetic. And the stronger your confidence becomes, the greater the pull you create. Chapter 4: The Energy of Action. Attraction is not passive. You cannot sit still and hope that success will somehow stumble into your life. You cannot meditate on a dream without ever moving your feet toward it. Energy attracts energy, and action is the proof of intention. The opportunities you seek are not hiding. They are waiting for you to show that you are ready. Think about it. A magnet doesn't pull without force. It has an active field, an invisible current that is always reaching outward. In the same way, your life sends out signals through the actions you take. Every step you make, every risk you embrace, every decision you follow through on, announces to the world, I am serious about this. I am moving forward. That announcement is what draws opportunities closer. Most people wait. They wait for the timing to be right, for the perfect plan, for the fear to disappear. But waiting rarely brings clarity, and hesitation rarely brings confidence. It is action that creates both. When you act, you gather momentum, and momentum is magnetic. It changes how people see you, how they respond to you, and how doors begin to open in places you never expected. Let me give you an example. Imagine someone who dreams of starting a business. They talk about it, they read books about it, they make lists about it, but they never take the first step. Opportunities pass them by because no one sees proof of commitment. Now imagine another person with the same dream. They don't have all the answers, but they start small. They build a simple website. They make their first call. They create their first product. Those actions send out a signal. This person is not just dreaming, they are doing. And because of that, opportunities begin to notice. Investors, partners, and customers appear not because of luck, but because action drew them in. Here's a truth most people overlook. Action is magnetic because it creates visibility. When you act, you stand out. When you move, people notice. And when people notice, opportunities flow. You don't attract by sitting in silence. You attract by showing the world that you are in motion. Now, action does not always guarantee immediate results. Sometimes the steps feel small, even invisible, but every action compounds. Think of a snowball rolling down a hill. At first, it's tiny, hardly noticeable. But as it keeps moving, it grows, gathering weight and speed until it becomes unstoppable. That is the energy of consistent action. It builds a force that nothing can ignore. This is why action matters more than perfection. Too many people delay because they want the perfect plan. They want to guarantee success before they start. But perfection is a trap because it keeps you in planning mode instead of progress mode. The truth is, clarity comes from movement, not from standing still. The path becomes clear as you walk it, not before. So ask yourself, where in your life have you been waiting instead of moving? What dream has been stuck in your head because you're afraid to take the first step? Remember this, courage is not the absence of fear. It's the decision to act despite it. And the moment you act, you send a message to the world. I am ready. Energy attracts energy. When you are active, you meet people who are active. When you are in motion, you cross paths with doors you never would have seen standing still. Opportunities are not looking for the perfect person. They are looking for the person who is already moving, already proving, already stepping forward. So don't just think about your goals. Don't just dream about opportunities. Move. Even if the step feels small, even if the action feels imperfect, take it. Because action is the spark that lights the fire of attraction. And once that fire is burning, opportunities will feel its heat from miles away and come closer to your flame. Chapter 5: The Law of Preparation. People love to call it luck when someone seizes an opportunity at the perfect moment. They say, that person was in the right place at the right time. But if you look deeper, you'll discover something more powerful. Luck often arrives wearing the disguise of preparation. The truth is, the world rarely hands opportunities to those who are not ready to handle them. Think about an athlete. When the championship game begins, the world sees the final performance. The crowd calls it talent, but behind the scenes were countless hours of practice, conditioning, and training. The opportunity to win the championship only mattered because the athlete had prepared for it long before the moment arrived. Without preparation, the opportunity would have been wasted. This is the law of preparation. Opportunity gravitates to readiness. Doors don't open randomly. They open for the ones who have sharpened their tools, studied their craft, and built the discipline to handle what comes next. Preparation is a signal that tells the world, I'm ready. And when you radiate readiness, opportunities feel safe landing in your hands. Many people want more out of life, but resist the process of preparation. They say, when I get the chance, I'll figure it out. But opportunity doesn't wait for you to figure it out. It knocks, and if you're not prepared, it keeps moving. The tragedy is that most people never lose opportunity. They simply weren't ready when it arrived. Preparation is not about obsessing over every possible scenario. It's about equipping yourself with enough skill, knowledge, and resilience so that when doors open, you can step through with confidence. For example, if you want a promotion at work, don't wait until the position is announced to start learning leadership. Prepare today, read the books, develop the communication skills, practice leading where you are. Then, when the opportunity appears, you're not scrambling. You're stepping forward as the obvious choice. Think of life as a constant audition. You don't know when the director will walk into the room, but if you rehearse every day, you'll always be ready to perform. Preparation is the rehearsal of greatness, and those who rehearse consistently don't have to beg for opportunities. They attract them. Here's what makes preparation magnetic. It builds confidence. When you've done the work behind the scenes, you carry yourself differently in the spotlight. People can feel it. They sense that you are competent, capable, and reliable. And because of that, they trust you with bigger chances. Confidence without preparation is arrogance. But preparation combined with confidence is unstoppable magnetism. Ask yourself this: if the opportunity I dream of showed up tomorrow, would I be ready to handle it? If the answer is no, don't be discouraged. Be inspired. Preparation is a choice you can make today. Every skill you build, every book you read, every habit you develop is another way of telling the universe, I am ready for more. Preparation is not glamorous. It's often lonely, quiet, and unseen. But those hidden hours are the foundation of visible success. When you see someone living the life you want, understand this. They were preparing long before you noticed them. They didn't rise overnight. They rose because they were ready when the moment came. So begin preparing. Prepare not just for the opportunities you see, but for the ones you can't see yet. Prepare as if the door is about to open, even if it hasn't appeared. Because one day, when it does, you won't be scrambling to catch up. You'll be walking forward with calm certainty, and others will say how lucky they are. But you'll know the truth. It wasn't luck. It was the law of preparation. Chapter 6. The Courage to Ask. Most missed opportunities are not stolen. They are not hidden away by others. They are missed simply because we were too afraid to ask. Asking is one of the simplest actions in the world, yet it is also one of the most powerful because asking requires courage. It is courage that opens doors, courage that starts conversations, and courage that pulls opportunities into your orbit. Think about it. Every great shift in history began with someone asking. Someone asked, what if there's a better way? Someone asked, can we try this differently? Someone asked another person for help, for guidance, for partnership. Behind every leap forward is a question that unlocked possibility. The problem is that fear silences us. We fear rejection, we fear embarrassment, we fear being told no. And so we stay quiet, waiting for opportunities to fall into our laps. But silence is rarely rewarded. Opportunities often belong to those who raise their hand, to those who speak up, to those who dare to say, this is what I want. Here's the truth. The worst that can happen when you ask is a no, and no doesn't break you. It doesn't end your chances. In fact, no is often a redirection, pointing you toward a better door. The real danger is not rejection. It's never asking at all. Because if you never ask, the answer is already no. Let me give you an example. Picture two employees in the same company. Both are hardworking, both are talented, both have dreams of promotion, but one stays silent, hoping their effort will be noticed. The other walks into their manager's office and says, "I'd like to take on more responsibility. I believe I'm ready for leadership. How can I prepare for that role?" Who do you think will be top of mind when a promotion opens? The one who had the courage to ask, not because they were better, but because they spoke their desire into the world. Opportunities gravitate to clarity, and asking is the act of making your clarity known. When you ask, you declare, "I know what I want, and I am willing to step forward for it." That declaration is magnetic. People are drawn to those who are bold enough to voice their vision. But courage to ask doesn't only apply to careers. It applies to every area of life. Ask for help when you're struggling. Ask for wisdom when you're uncertain. Ask for connection when you're lonely. Asking creates bridges, and bridges are where opportunities cross into your life. Now, some people mistake asking for begging, but there is a difference. Begging is rooted in lack, in desperation. Asking, when done with confidence, is rooted in clarity and belief. You are not asking because you are incomplete. You are asking because you are ready for growth. The mindset behind the ask makes all the difference. If asking feels difficult for you, start small. Ask questions in meetings. Ask a mentor for 10 minutes of their time. Ask a friend for feedback on your work. Every time you practice asking, you weaken the fear of rejection and strengthen your courage. Eventually, asking becomes natural, and opportunities flow more easily toward you. So let me leave you with this thought. Closed mouths don't get fed, and closed hearts don't get answered. The doors you've been waiting on may already be unlocked. They're just waiting for you to knock. Have the courage to ask, and you'll discover that opportunities have been listening all along. Chapter 7. Building Magnetic Habits. Opportunities are not attracted by chance alone. They are attracted to consistency, to patterns, to reliability. And what creates those patterns? Your habits. Habits are the invisible architecture of your life. They are the daily actions that quietly shape your identity and, in time, determine the quality of opportunities that find you. You cannot expect extraordinary opportunities while living with ordinary habits. The truth is, success rarely comes in one big moment. It is the result of hundreds of small, consistent actions stacked over time. Habits are like compound interest. The longer you invest in them, the greater the return. And when your habits are aligned with growth, excellence, and discipline, they create a magnetic field that draws success in your direction. Consider this. If someone watches you for a week, what would your habits tell them about your future? Would they see a person preparing, growing, sharpening their skills, and moving towards something bigger? Or would they see someone stuck in cycles of procrastination, distraction, and inconsistency? Because opportunities often come through people, and people trust those whose habits prove they are dependable. Think about an athlete again. It is not game day that builds greatness. It's the unseen hours of practice, the early mornings, the disciplined routines. By the time the spotlight arrives, the habit of discipline has already created the magnetism that pulls victory closer. The same is true in business, relationships, and personal growth. Opportunities gravitate toward the prepared, and preparation is built on habit. Habits are powerful because they free you from constant decision-making. When you establish strong habits, success becomes automatic. You don't have to debate whether to exercise, whether to read, whether to work on your goals. You've already decided, and the habit carries you forward. That consistency is what creates trust. The world trusts the person who shows up every day. But here's the challenge. Habits work both ways. Positive habits compound into opportunity, but negative habits compound into missed chances. Scrolling endlessly, complaining often, or postponing tasks may seem small in the moment, but they build an identity of inconsistency, and inconsistency repels opportunities because no one wants to invest in someone who cannot invest in themselves. The good news is, habits are not destiny, they are choices, and choices can be changed. You don't have to rebuild your entire life overnight. Start with one habit, one small action repeated daily. Read 10 pages, wake up 30 minutes earlier, speak one affirmation in the mirror. Small habits are like seeds. At first, they look insignificant, but with time, they grow into forests. Here's what makes habits magnetic. They build momentum. Once you string together enough days of progress, your energy shifts. You carry yourself differently. People notice your discipline, and they are drawn to it. The world is hungry for reliable people, and reliable people are made through consistent habits. So ask yourself, what habits are shaping my magnetism right now? Are they pulling opportunities closer or pushing them away? If you want to attract more, don't start by asking for more. Start by building the habits that prove you're ready for more. In the end, habits are a reflection of belief. If you believe you are worthy of opportunity, you will create habits that support that belief. If you believe you are destined for less, your habits will reflect resignation. But you always have the power to choose differently. Build magnetic habits. Build them patiently, consistently, and intentionally, because the habits you practice today are the silent architects of the opportunities you will attract tomorrow. Chapter 8. The Network Effect. No matter how talented, disciplined, or ambitious you are, opportunities rarely arrive in isolation. They travel through people. Every open door in your life has either been held by someone else or pointed out by someone else. This is why building connections is not optional. It's essential. Your network is the bridge that carries opportunities into your life, and the strength of that bridge often determines how far you can go. But let's be clear, this isn't about collecting business cards or adding random names on social media. True magnetism in networking comes from authenticity. People are not drawn to surface-level exchanges. They are drawn to genuine energy, to people who make them feel seen, valued, and uplifted. The network effect is not about how many people you know. It's about how many people trust you, respect you, and want to open doors for you. Think about the people you admire most. Chances are, their opportunities came through relationships. A mentor who believed in them, a colleague who recommended them, a friend who introduced them to the right person at the right time. Success is rarely a solo project. It is built on the collective energy of connections that multiply your reach. Now, here's the secret most people miss. Your network mirrors the energy you bring into it. If you approach relationships only asking, "What can I get?" people will feel the self-interest and pull away. But if you approach with the question, "What can I give? How can I add value?" you become magnetic. When you give first, whether it's encouragement, help, or insight, you plant seeds of trust, and those seeds always grow into opportunities. Let me paint a picture. Imagine two professionals attending the same event. One rushes from person to person, handing out their card, barely listening before moving on. The other engages deeply in one or two conversations, listening intently, asking thoughtful questions, and offering genuine encouragement. Who do you think will be remembered, respected, and invited into future opportunities? The one who gave presence instead of pushing an agenda. Opportunities flow to those who are remembered for the right reasons. People don't just remember what you said, they remember how you made them feel. If you leave people feeling important, inspired, and valued, they will carry your name in rooms you've never entered. That is the true power of the network effect. But building a network is not just about meeting new people. It's also about strengthening the connections you already have. Too often, we underestimate the power of relationships close to us because we assume opportunities must come from far away. Yet often, it's the friend, the colleague, the neighbor, or the acquaintance who already knows us that holds the key to the next door. Networking is also not about quantity of time. It's about quality of presence. A 5-minute genuine exchange is more powerful than 5 years of surface-level interaction. Depth creates magnetism. People are drawn to authenticity, and authenticity builds bridges that last. So, how do you attract opportunities through your network? By being the kind of person others want to open doors for. Be reliable, keep your word, follow through, encourage others, celebrate their wins, help them when they're in need. Over time, your name becomes associated with positivity and trust, and when opportunities arise, your name will rise with them. The network effect is exponential. Each person you connect with authentically connects you to hundreds of others you may never meet directly. And the more you invest in building genuine, value-based relationships, the stronger your opportunity magnet becomes. So ask yourself, am I nurturing my network or neglecting it? Am I showing up to give or only to take? And do people leave interactions with me feeling smaller or greater? Because the way you answer those questions will determine the doors that open or stay closed in your future. In the end, your network is not just a list of names. It is a living, breathing web of relationships, each one a potential bridge to opportunities you cannot yet imagine. Strengthen those bridges and watch how quickly life expands. Chapter 9: Building Resilience. Opportunities are powerful, but they are not always gentle. Sometimes they arrive wrapped in challenge. Sometimes they test you before they reward you. And sometimes, before you can step into a new door, you must be willing to endure the storms that guard the entrance. This is why resilience is not just a useful trait, it is essential. Without resilience, opportunities slip through your fingers because you lack the strength to hold on to them when the winds get rough. Resilience is the ability to rise after you fall, to stand when life knocks you down, and to continue walking even when the path feels heavy. It is the difference between people who crumble at the first no and those who see rejection as a redirection. Resilience is not about avoiding pain. It's about transforming pain into fuel. Every great success story you've ever heard is also a story of resilience. Thomas Edison didn't fail once when inventing the light bulb. He failed thousands of times, but he didn't call them failures. He called them steps toward discovery. Walt Disney was fired early in his career for lacking creativity. Oprah Winfrey was told she wasn't fit for television. Each of these people faced setbacks that could have ended their journey, but their resilience turned rejection into momentum. And because of that, opportunities eventually bowed to their persistence. Here's the truth: the world doesn't reward the first attempt. It rewards the persistence to keep trying until it works. Opportunities are attracted not just to talent, but to those who prove they can endure. Because opportunity without resilience can become wasted. Imagine being handed a leadership role when you haven't learned how to handle criticism. Imagine being given wealth before you've learned financial discipline. Without resilience, what you gain will slip away as quickly as it arrived. Resilience is built in the trenches of life, not in moments of comfort. It's forged when you face obstacles, disappointments, and delays, and choose to keep moving anyway. It's in those moments that you send the strongest signal to the world: I will not quit. And that signal is magnetic because people and opportunities are drawn to those who cannot be easily broken. But how do you build resilience? You start by shifting your perspective on struggle. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "What is this teaching me?" Every challenge carries a lesson. Every setback holds a seed of growth. When you train yourself to look for the lesson instead of the loss, you turn obstacles into stepping stones. You also build resilience by practicing patience. Too many people give up too early, not realizing how close they were to a breakthrough. Growth is often invisible at first, like roots spreading underground before the tree breaks through the soil. Resilience means trusting the process even when results aren't immediate. And resilience is also strengthened by community. When you surround yourself with people who encourage you, remind you of your strength, and hold you accountable, you multiply your ability to endure. No one is meant to walk through storms alone. So ask yourself, how do I respond when life gets hard? Do I shrink back or do I stand taller? Do I interpret setbacks as signals to stop or as invitations to grow stronger? Because opportunities are not just looking for the talented, they are looking for the resilient, the ones who can carry the weight of responsibility, the ones who can stay steady when pressure rises, the ones who refuse to quit. Resilience is a magnet because it proves you are unshakable, and when the world sees that you cannot be broken, bigger doors open because you've shown that you can handle what's on the other side. Chapter 10. Turning Fear into Fuel. Fear is universal. Every single person feels it. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of judgment, fear of the unknown. It doesn't matter how confident, skilled, or successful someone looks on the outside. Inside, they've battled fear just like you. The difference between those who attract opportunities and those who let them slip away is not the absence of fear, it's the way they use it. Most people treat fear like a stop sign. The moment they feel it, they freeze. They convince themselves the risk is too high, the timing is wrong, or they're not ready. Fear whispers in their ear, "Stay safe, stay comfortable, don't try." And so they do. They choose comfort over courage, and as a result, opportunities pass them by. But here's the truth. Fear is not your enemy. Fear is energy. And like all energy, it can be redirected. When you learn to turn fear into fuel, it becomes a powerful ally instead of a paralyzing enemy. Think of fear like fire. Left uncontrolled, it can burn you down. But when channeled, fire becomes heat, light, and power. The same is true with fear. Unused, it destroys. Directed, it drives. Every time you feel fear, it means you are standing at the edge of growth. The fact that you feel it is proof that something meaningful is at stake. That's not a sign to stop. It's a sign to move forward. Let's look at an example. Picture someone about to give a presentation. Their heart is racing, their palms are sweating, their thoughts are spinning. They interpret this as a problem, as a sign they aren't ready. But in reality, those physical responses are the body preparing for peak performance. The adrenaline pumping through their system is energy. Energy that, if directed, gives them focus, power, and intensity. The only difference between fear and excitement is interpretation. The most successful people in the world don't escape fear. They feel it and step forward anyway. They use fear as confirmation that they're on the right path because nothing worthwhile ever comes without risk. Fear is a compass. It points directly toward the places where growth and opportunity live. So how do you turn fear into fuel? First, acknowledge it. Don't run from it and don't deny it. Say, "Yes, I feel afraid." Then ask yourself why. What is fear protecting you from? Most of the time, fear is trying to shield you from discomfort, embarrassment, or failure. But those are not death sentences. They are teachers. Once you see fear for what it is, it loses its power to control you. Next, reframe it. Instead of saying, "I'm nervous," say, "I'm excited." Train your brain to interpret the same energy differently. Over time, your mind will begin to link fear with possibility rather than danger. And finally, act. Fear shrinks when you move. The longer you hesitate, the bigger fear grows in your imagination. But the moment you take action, make the call, step on stage, say the words, fear begins to dissolve and its energy transforms into momentum. Opportunities rarely appear in your comfort zone. They live just beyond it, guarded by the presence of fear. This means that every time you feel afraid, you are closer to opportunity than you think. Fear is not a wall, it is a doorway. And when you step through, you discover that the thing you feared was never as big as you imagined. So ask yourself, what opportunities am I avoiding because of fear? What could I gain if I decided to step forward anyway? Remember this, fear is not a signal to stop. It is a signal that you are exactly where you need to be. And when you learn to turn fear into fuel, you won't just chase opportunities, you'll attract them because the world is drawn to those who walk boldly where others hesitate. Chapter 11. The Power of Persistence. If there is one trait that separates those who achieve extraordinary things from those who give up too soon, it is persistence. Talent matters, skill matters, timing matters, but none of these can outperform the relentless determination of someone who simply refuses to quit. Persistence is the engine that keeps you moving long after others have stopped. It is the quiet force that transforms small, ordinary actions into extraordinary results. The world is full of people who start strong but fade quickly. They are excited at the beginning, motivated by the spark of inspiration. They plan, they talk, they dream. But the moment it gets hard, the moment progress slows, the moment results don't show up as quickly as they hoped, they stop. They call it failure, when in truth, it was just unfinished effort. Opportunities often hide behind barriers, not because they are impossible, but because life wants to see how badly you want them. Persistence is the test. Will you keep showing up when it's not glamorous? Will you keep pushing when no one is cheering? Will you keep believing when nothing seems to be working? Most people won't. That's why those who do become magnetic. Opportunities are drawn to the person who proves they won't give up halfway. History is filled with stories of persistence. Thomas Edison, after thousands of failed attempts, finally created the light bulb. When asked how he endured so many failures, he said he didn't fail. He found thousands of ways that didn't work. Henry Ford went broke 5 times before successfully launching the Ford Motor Company. Colonel Sanders heard no over 1,000 times before someone agreed to sell his chicken recipe. These weren't the smartest or the luckiest people in the world. They were simply the most persistent. Persistence is powerful because it builds resilience, credibility, and trust. When you keep showing up, people notice. They think, if this person can't be shaken by setbacks, then maybe they are worth investing in, partnering with, or believing in. Your persistence communicates seriousness. It tells the world that you're not dabbling, you're committed, and that commitment attracts opportunities that would otherwise pass you by. But persistence doesn't mean doing the same thing over and over without learning. It's not stubbornness. True persistence is flexible. It adjusts, adapts, and evolves. When one path doesn't work, persistence doesn't stop. It finds another way. It's water flowing around a rock, carving its way forward no matter the obstacle. Here's the truth. You may not succeed on the first try, or the 10th, or the 100th, but if you stay persistent, every attempt teaches you something, and eventually, those lessons accumulate into success. Failure is not final, it's feedback, and persistence is what turns feedback into fuel. If you want to become magnetic to opportunity, cultivate persistence in your daily life. Don't quit on your goals after a week. Don't give up on your dreams after a single rejection. Keep moving, keep building, keep refining. Persistence is not glamorous. It's not always exciting. Sometimes it's boring, repetitive, and unseen. But it's in those unseen hours that greatness is formed. So ask yourself, where have I given up too soon? Where have I let frustration or impatience rob me of the reward that persistence could have delivered? And what could happen if this time I refused to quit? Remember this, opportunities rarely belong to the fastest starter. They belong to the one who refuses to stop. Persistence is power, and when you carry that power, the world can't help but take notice. Chapter 12. The Discipline of Focus. If persistence keeps you moving, focus ensures you move in the right direction. Without focus, persistence can become wasted energy, like running on a treadmill. You're moving, but you're not getting anywhere. Focus is the discipline of channeling your time, energy, and attention toward the things that truly matter while refusing to be distracted by what doesn't. In today's world, focus is rare. We live in a culture of constant noise, phones buzzing, notifications flashing, endless streams of information demanding our attention. And yet, opportunities are not attracted to scattered energy. They are drawn to clarity, precision, and discipline. When you learn to master focus, you magnify your magnetism because your life begins to communicate one clear message. I know where I'm going. Imagine sunlight passing through a window. On its own, it warms a room, but it is soft, scattered. Now imagine that same light concentrated through a magnifying glass. It can start a fire. That's the difference between a scattered mind and a focused one. Scattered effort produces warmth. Focused effort produces power, and power is what attracts opportunities. The discipline of focus begins with knowing your priorities. Too many people say yes to everything, and in doing so, they dilute their energy. Focused people say yes to what matters most and no to the rest. It's not about doing more, it's about doing less, better. Success is not built on busyness. It is built on meaningful, concentrated effort toward clear goals. But focus requires discipline because distractions will always tempt you. Every day, you'll be pulled in 100 directions. Other people's demands, minor tasks, the lure of comfort. Without discipline, you'll give in. With discipline, you'll stay the course. Discipline is what makes focus sustainable. It's the ability to tell yourself, this may be easier, this may be tempting, but it doesn't serve my vision. Think of great inventors, artists, and entrepreneurs. Their success was not the result of scattered energy, but of obsessive focus. Steve Jobs once said, "Focus is about saying no." He understood that to create something extraordinary, you must remove the unnecessary. Focus is not about doing everything. It's about doing the right things with full attention. Now, focus is not just about productivity. It's also about presence. When you are fully focused on a conversation, people feel valued. When you are fully focused on your craft, quality shines through. When you are fully focused on your vision, opportunities align with that energy. Focus is magnetic because it signals seriousness. The world notices those who give their whole attention to what matters. But focus does not happen by accident. It must be designed. That means creating environments that reduce distractions. It means setting boundaries with your time and energy. It means choosing deep work over shallow scrolling. And it means training your mind like a muscle to resist instant gratification in favor of long-term growth. So ask yourself, where is my energy going? Am I scattering it across tasks, distractions, and unimportant pursuits? Or am I channeling it into the few things that matter most? If you want to attract opportunity, you must be known for focus. People trust the focused because they know you won't waste their time or theirs. The discipline of focus is not always easy, but it is always worth it. Scattered people chase opportunities. Focused people attract them. And the more disciplined your focus becomes, the more magnetic your life will be to the very things you desire. Chapter 13. The power of consistency. Consistency is one of the most underestimated forces in life. People often overvalue intensity, those bursts of passion, those all-nighters, those short-lived sprints of motivation. But the truth is, consistency beats intensity every time. A single grand effort may bring attention, but it is steady, repeated effort that builds trust, reputation, and results. Opportunities are not attracted to flashes of brilliance. They are drawn to steady flames that keep burning. Think of a river carving through rock. The river doesn't break stone by force alone. It shapes it through constant flow, day after day, year after year. That is the power of consistency. Small actions, repeated faithfully, can accomplish what even the strongest force cannot achieve in a single strike. The problem is that many people stop too soon. They start a new habit, a new project, a new dream, and when results don't show up immediately, they quit. They tell themselves it didn't work, when in reality, they just didn't stay long enough for the results to appear. Success is rarely instant. It is the reward for showing up over and over, even when it feels slow, boring, or invisible. Consistency is magnetic because it signals reliability. People and opportunities are drawn to those who show they can be counted on. Employers promote consistent performers, not occasional stars. Customers return to businesses that deliver reliably, not sporadically. Relationships grow deeper with consistent effort, not occasional gestures. The world notices when you keep showing up, and it responds by opening bigger doors. Think of athletes again. They don't train once a month. They train daily. Musicians don't practice only when inspiration strikes. They practice consistently until skill becomes second nature. Writers don't wait for perfect ideas. They sit down every day and write, building momentum through routine. Behind every masterpiece, every breakthrough, every opportunity seized, there is consistency. Consistency also compounds. One workout won't change your health, but 100 will. One day of reading won't transform your mind, but years of it will. One phone call may not build a network, but steady outreach will. Every small, consistent effort stacks upon itself, building invisible momentum until suddenly the results appear, and everyone calls it overnight success. But overnight success is always years in the making, crafted by consistency. Now, consistency doesn't mean perfection. You don't have to do everything right every day. You just need to show up more often than not. Progress is built on persistence, not perfection. The person who stumbles but keeps going will always outpace the one who gives up after the first fall. Here's the challenge. Consistency is rarely exciting. It feels repetitive, unglamorous, even dull. But that's where its power lies. While most people quit in search of excitement, the consistent few keep going, and those few become magnets for opportunity. So ask yourself, what would happen if I simply refused to quit? What would happen if I kept showing up, even on the days when I don't feel like it? Imagine where you could be 1 year from now, 5 years from now, if you committed to consistent action in the areas that matter most. Opportunities don't chase people who appear once and vanish. They are drawn to the steady, the reliable, the consistent. Be that person, build that rhythm, and watch how life begins to reward the simple, unstoppable power of consistency. Chapter 14, The Value of Patience. In a world that glorifies speed, patience often feels outdated. We live in an era of instant gratification, instant messages, instant purchases, instant entertainment. And because of that, many people expect instant results in life. But opportunity doesn't work on demand. True success, the kind that lasts, is rarely immediate. It is cultivated over time, and the ability to wait with faith and discipline is what separates those who succeed from those who surrender too soon. Patience is not passivity. It is not sitting idle, hoping something will happen. Patience is active trust. It's doing the work, planting the seeds, watering the soil, and then allowing time to do its part. A farmer does not plant a seed in the morning and dig it up at night to check if it's growing. They trust the process, knowing that growth is happening underground long before it becomes visible. That trust, that patience, is what brings the harvest. Opportunities are no different. They often need time to mature. The work you're doing today might not show results tomorrow, but it is shaping your future in ways you cannot yet see. Impatience kills dreams because it convinces people that if results aren't immediate, the effort isn't working. But patience reminds us that everything of value takes time to grow. Think of great achievements. Building a business, mastering a craft, creating a legacy. None of these happen overnight. They require seasons of preparation, of small wins, of setbacks and learning. The impatient quit in those seasons, but the patient endure, and because of that, they eventually stand where others could not. Patience is magnetic because it communicates stability. People and opportunities are drawn to those who can stay steady, who don't panic under delay, who don't abandon their vision at the first sign of difficulty. Patience shows maturity, and maturity attracts responsibility. If you can't wait, you can't handle what you're waiting for. But patience is not always easy. It requires fighting against comparison. When you see others moving faster, it's tempting to believe you're falling behind. But comparison is a thief. Their timeline is not yours. Their path is not yours. Patience is trusting that your journey unfolds at the right pace, even if it looks different from others. Patience also requires managing frustration. There will be moments when nothing seems to move, when progress feels invisible. Those are the moments when impatience whispers, "Quit." But patience answers, "Stay the course." Because often, the breakthrough comes right after the moment most people give up. So ask yourself, where in my life do I need more patience? Am I rushing a process that requires time? Am I abandoning opportunities too quickly because they haven't matured yet? What seeds have I planted that I need to nurture instead of dig up? The value of patience is simple but profound. It allows opportunities to ripen fully before you seize them. A fruit picked too early is sour. A dream seized too soon is fragile. But when you wait with discipline, what you harvest will not only arrive, it will arrive in abundance. Patience is not weakness, it is strength disguised as calm. And when you carry it, you send a message to the world. I am steady, I am prepared, I am not desperate. And that energy is magnetic because opportunities are drawn to those who are ready to hold them, not rush them. Chapter 15, The Art of Adaptability. Life rarely unfolds exactly the way we expect. Plans shift, markets change, relationships evolve, and even the strongest strategies can suddenly collapse under circumstances outside our control. In these moments, adaptability becomes the deciding factor between those who keep moving forward and those who get stuck. The truth is, opportunities don't always arrive in the form you imagined. Sometimes they show up disguised as detours, and only the adaptable recognize their value. Adaptability is the art of staying committed to your vision while being flexible with your methods. It's the ability to pivot without losing momentum, to bend without breaking, to adjust your sails when the wind changes direction. Rigid people miss opportunities because they cling too tightly to one path. Adaptable people attract opportunities because they are willing to adjust course and find new ways to move toward the same destination. Think of water. Pour it into a cup and it becomes the cup. Pour it into a jar and it becomes the jar. Water adapts to its environment without losing its essence. In the same way, adaptability doesn't mean abandoning who you are. It means finding new ways to express your strengths, talents, and vision no matter the circumstances. History is full of examples of adaptability creating success. When the film industry shifted from silent films to sound, many actors lost their careers because they could not adapt. But those who embraced the change became legends. In business, companies that refused to adapt to technology faded away, while those who innovated thrived. Adaptability is not just a skill, it is survival, and more than survival, it is leverage. Those who adapt quickly are the ones who rise. But adaptability is more than external adjustment. It is also internal. It's about mindset. When challenges arise, you can see them as obstacles or as opportunities to grow. An adaptable mindset says, this didn't go as planned, but maybe it went as needed. That perspective shifts frustration into curiosity and opens the door to possibilities others overlook. Adaptability is magnetic because it communicates resilience and creativity. People and opportunities are drawn to those who can stay steady under change, who don't panic when the plan shifts, who can find solutions where others see only problems. Adaptable people radiate resourcefulness, and that makes them invaluable. So how do you cultivate adaptability? First, release perfectionism. Perfection demands rigid control, but life cannot be controlled. It can only be navigated. Instead of demanding perfect conditions, practice flowing with what is. Second, stay open-minded. Don't get so attached to one idea that you miss better ones. Listen, learn, and allow yourself to be surprised. Third, practice flexibility in small ways. Take a different route to work. Try a new approach to a routine task. Experiment with change instead of resisting it. Each small act of flexibility builds your capacity for bigger adaptations. Ask yourself, am I clinging too tightly to one path? Am I rejecting opportunities just because they don't look exactly like I imagined? Am I willing to shift, pivot, and reinvent if life requires it? Remember this, opportunities often arrive wrapped in disguise. They may not look like what you pictured, but if you're adaptable, you'll recognize them for what they are: a chance to grow, a chance to learn, a chance to succeed in a new way. Adaptability is not weakness, it is intelligence in motion. And when you master it, you stop fearing change and start attracting the very opportunities hidden within it. Chapter 16, The Strength of Self-Discipline. If talent opens the door and opportunity knocks, it is self-discipline that allows you to walk through and stay inside. Without discipline, even the greatest opportunities can be wasted. Self-discipline is the ability to do what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like doing it. It is the bridge between intention and achievement, between goals and results, and it is one of the most magnetic qualities you can build. Too many people rely on motivation, Motivation is powerful, but it is also unreliable. Some days you'll wake up feeling inspired, energized, ready to conquer the world. Other days you'll wake up tired, unmotivated, and tempted to give in to comfort. If you only act when you feel motivated, your progress will be inconsistent, and inconsistency repels opportunity. But discipline carries you through both the highs and the lows. Discipline says, I'll show up whether I feel like it or not. And that consistency is what makes you magnetic. Think of world-class athletes again. They don't train only when they're inspired. They train every day, rain or shine, tired or energized, motivated or not. That's why they rise above the competition. Their talent matters, but it is their discipline that sets them apart. The same is true in every area of life. Writers become authors because they discipline themselves to write daily. Entrepreneurs build companies because they discipline themselves to show up for the grind. Leaders earn respect because they discipline themselves to act with integrity even when no one is watching. Discipline is strength because it builds trust. When you are disciplined, people can rely on you. They know you'll follow through. They know you'll deliver. They know you won't quit when it gets hard. That reliability attracts opportunities because the world places responsibility in the hands of those who can be trusted to carry it. But discipline is not about being harsh with yourself. It's about being committed to yourself. It's not punishment, it's alignment. It's choosing long-term gain over short-term pleasure. It's saying, I want the life I've envisioned more than I want the comfort of this moment. And every time you choose discipline, you strengthen your magnetic field. The challenge, of course, is that discipline is uncomfortable. It requires sacrifice. It requires saying no when you'd rather say yes. It requires trading instant gratification for future growth. But here's the paradox. The more you practice discipline, the freer you become. Without discipline, you are a slave to impulse, to distraction, to laziness. With discipline, you gain control, and control creates freedom. So how do you build discipline? Start with small commitments. If you promise yourself you'll wake up at a certain time, keep that promise. If you say you'll work for one focused hour, keep that promise. Every time you keep your word to yourself, you strengthen your self-trust, and self-trust is the foundation of discipline. Over time, small disciplines compound into powerful character. Ask yourself, am I controlled by feelings or guided by commitment? Do I let my mood decide my actions, or do I let my vision decide my actions? Because the opportunities you attract will depend on that answer. The undisciplined scatter their energy and lose momentum. The disciplined build momentum that no obstacle can stop. The strength of self-discipline is one of the clearest signals you can send to the world. It says, I can be trusted, I can be relied on, I can handle responsibility. And because of that, opportunities will always find their way to you. Chapter 17, The Influence of Environment. No matter how strong your mindset, how disciplined your habits, or how clear your vision, you cannot ignore the power of your environment. The spaces you live in, the people you spend time with, the energy that surrounds you, all of these quietly shape your opportunities. Your environment can either fuel your growth or drain it, attract success or push it away. Think of a seed. Even the strongest seed packed with potential cannot grow if it's planted in dry, toxic soil. But give that same seed rich soil, sunlight, and water, and its growth becomes inevitable. You are that seed, and your environment is the soil. If you surround yourself with negativity, distractions, and mediocrity, your growth will always be limited. But when you intentionally create environments filled with inspiration, support, and excellence, you make opportunity almost impossible to miss. This doesn't just apply to physical spaces, it applies to people. The people closest to you have the power to shape your standards, your expectations, and even your self-image. Spend enough time with people who complain, and you'll begin to see the world through the lens of complaint. Spend enough time with people who strive for more, and you'll begin to stretch your own vision. Energy is contagious, and the people around you are either raising your vibration or lowering it. Ask yourself, who do I spend the most time with? Do they push me to grow, or do they pull me back? Do they celebrate my progress, or do they secretly resent it? Do they challenge me to rise higher, or do they keep me comfortable at the same level? Because opportunities are often tied to the company you keep. A single conversation, introduction, or encouragement from the right person can change the entire trajectory of your life. But environment is also about what you consume. The books you read, the shows you watch, the music you listen to, the content you scroll through, all of it influences your mindset. If you constantly feed yourself negativity, gossip, or shallow distractions, don't be surprised when your energy repels opportunity. But if you surround yourself with wisdom, positivity, and inspiration, your magnetism strengthens. Even your physical space matters. A cluttered desk creates a cluttered mind. A chaotic environment makes it harder to focus, but a clean, organized, intentional space signals clarity and readiness. Opportunities are drawn to order because order communicates capacity. When your environment is aligned with your vision, you send out a clear signal: I'm prepared for more. Here's the truth: you can't always control every part of your environment, but you can always influence it. If you can't change the people around you, limit their impact and seek new circles that uplift you. If you can't move to a new place right now, create corners of inspiration where you are. Your desk, your routines, your mindset. You always have the power to adjust your environment to better serve your future. So ask yourself, is my environment pulling me toward opportunity or pushing me away from it? Are the people, spaces, and influences in my life nourishing my growth or stunting it? Because the opportunities you attract are often a direct reflection of the environment you've chosen to cultivate. Remember this: you don't rise above your environment, you rise with it. Choose carefully, create intentionally, and build surroundings that make success feel natural. When you do, opportunities will not feel distant. They'll feel like the natural next step because your environment has already prepared you to receive them. Chapter 18. The gift of gratitude. Gratitude is often seen as something soft, a polite gesture, or a nice-to-have attitude. But in reality, gratitude is one of the most powerful forces for attracting opportunities into your life. It shifts your perspective, raises your energy, and creates an openness that draws more of what you desire. Gratitude is not passive, it is magnetic. Most people spend their lives focused on what they don't have, what's missing, or what isn't working. That constant attention to lack creates a mindset of scarcity, and scarcity pushes opportunity away. Why? Because if you cannot recognize and appreciate what is already in your life, you are blind to the value of new opportunities when they appear. Gratitude changes that. It trains your mind to see abundance, to notice the doors already open, and to appreciate the stepping stones leading you forward. Gratitude also changes how you show up in the world. People are naturally drawn to those who are thankful. A grateful person radiates positivity, humility, and warmth. They acknowledge others, they celebrate small wins, and they create an energy of appreciation that makes people want to support them. On the other hand, those who constantly complain, criticize, or focus on lack drain energy, and drained energy repels opportunities. Think of this. Have you ever helped someone who showed no appreciation? Did you feel eager to help them again? Probably not. But when someone sincerely thanked you, when you felt their gratitude was genuine, didn't it make you want to give even more? Opportunities work the same way. Life gives more to those who are grateful for what they already have. Gratitude is also a perspective shifter. It allows you to see lessons inside hardships. When life knocks you down, gratitude asks, "What is this teaching me?" Instead of resenting the struggle, you begin to see how it strengthens you, sharpens you, or redirects you towards something better. This doesn't mean ignoring pain or pretending challenges don't hurt. It means finding value within them. Gratitude turns setbacks into stepping stones, and that mindset attracts opportunities others miss. But gratitude is not just about big things. In fact, its true power is in noticing the small, the smile of a stranger, a roof over your head, a friend who checks in, a body that carries you through the day. When you learn to see abundance in the ordinary, you create a magnetic field of appreciation that pulls extraordinary things into your life. Because the more you recognize abundance, the more abundance you invite. Gratitude also strengthens patience and persistence. When you are thankful for where you are, you stop rushing desperately toward the future. You trust the process more. You keep going without resentment because you already see value in the journey. Gratitude turns waiting into growth, persistence into joy. So how do you practice the gift of gratitude? Start simple. Each day, name 3 things you are thankful for. Write them down, speak them aloud, or reflect on them quietly. Over time, this rewires your brain to focus on abundance instead of lack. And the more you focus on abundance, the more opportunities you'll notice around you. Ask yourself, do I complain more than I celebrate? Do I spend more time focusing on what's missing than what's present? What could shift in my life if I began to see every day, every challenge, every interaction as a gift? Gratitude is more than good manners. It is a magnet for blessings. The grateful heart attracts more to be grateful for. And when you learn to practice gratitude not just occasionally, but as a way of life, opportunities will not just visit you, they will stay. Chapter 19. The Mirror of Self-Awareness. One of the greatest opportunities you will ever have is the opportunity to know yourself. Self-awareness is the mirror that reflects who you truly are, your strengths, your blind spots, your patterns, and your potential. Without it, you can chase goals that don't fulfill you, sabotage opportunities without realizing it, or repeat mistakes that keep you stuck. But with self-awareness, you become magnetic because you move through life with clarity, authenticity, and alignment. Too many people live on autopilot. They move from one day to the next, reacting instead of reflecting, repeating the same behaviors without asking why. They don't notice their habits, they don't question their choices, and they don't explore the beliefs driving their actions. As a result, they wonder why opportunities seem to pass them by. The truth is, opportunities often don't recognize them because they don't fully recognize themselves. Self-awareness is the act of pausing long enough to ask, who am I really? What do I value? What drives me? What holds me back? When you begin asking these questions honestly, you start uncovering truths that change everything. You begin to notice patterns in your thinking, your behavior, and your results. And once you see those patterns, you gain the power to change them. Think of a mirror. Without one, you could walk around all day unaware that your hair is messy or there's something on your face. But the moment you look into the mirror, you see clearly and you can adjust. Self-awareness is that mirror for your inner world. It allows you to see what's out of place, what's holding you back, and what needs refining. And when you adjust, you immediately increase your magnetism to opportunity. Self-awareness is also magnetic because it creates authenticity. People are drawn to those who know themselves. When you understand your strengths, you can lean into them confidently. When you know your weaknesses, you can either improve them or surround yourself with people who complement them. This honesty builds trust, and trust is a magnet for opportunity. But here's the challenge. Self-awareness requires courage. It's not always comfortable to face yourself. It's easier to stay distracted than to sit with your thoughts. It's easier to blame others than to admit your role in a setback. But real growth begins the moment you stop running from the mirror and start learning from it. Practical self-awareness can come from reflection, journaling, meditation, or feedback. Reflection asks you to pause and review your actions. Journaling allows you to put thoughts on paper and see patterns more clearly. Meditation gives you space to observe your thoughts without judgment, and feedback, though often uncomfortable, reveals how others experience you, giving you a fuller picture of yourself. Each of these practices strengthens your ability to see clearly. Ask yourself, what am I pretending not to notice about myself? What beliefs or habits am I carrying that no longer serve me? What strengths have I been underestimating? Who am I becoming through the choices I make daily? Self-awareness is not about criticism, it's about empowerment. The more you understand yourself, the more power you have to direct your life with intention. Opportunities are drawn to those who walk in alignment with who they are because they radiate confidence and clarity. Remember this, the greatest mirror you will ever look into is not glass, it is your own awareness. And when you commit to seeing yourself fully, you will begin to attract opportunities that match your true identity, not the mask you've been wearing. That is the gift of self-awareness. It makes you magnetic. not by changing who you are, but by helping you become more of who you've always been. Chapter 20. The Energy of Generosity. At first glance, generosity may seem unrelated to opportunity. After all, giving means letting go, while opportunity often feels like something we receive. But the truth is, generosity is one of the most magnetic forces in the world. When you give freely, your time, your kindness, your knowledge, your encouragement, you create ripples of energy that inevitably return to you multiplied. Generosity is not just about charity. It is about living with an open hand instead of a clenched fist. Opportunities flow most easily through people, and people are naturally drawn to those who give. Think about the individuals you admire most. Chances are, they are not just successful, but generous. They share their wisdom. They lift others up. They create space for others to grow. Their energy feels expansive, and that expansiveness makes them unforgettable. The generous are magnetic because they shift the focus from themselves to others, and in doing so, they build trust, goodwill, and deep connection. Generosity does not always require money. In fact, some of the most powerful forms of generosity cost nothing. A kind word, a listening ear, a helping hand, a recommendation, a piece of encouragement when someone is ready to give up. These are small acts, yet they have the power to change someone's life. And here is the paradox. The more you give, the more opportunities flow back to you, not because you demanded them, but because you created value in the lives of others. But generosity must be genuine. If you give only to receive, people will sense the transaction, and the magnetism disappears. True generosity is not about manipulation, it is about contribution. It says, I want to leave you better than I found you, without expecting repayment. And when you live this way consistently, life finds its own way of repaying you, often through opportunities you could never have predicted. Think about networking. The most magnetic networkers are not the ones constantly asking for favors, but the ones who are always offering value. They connect people. They share insights. They celebrate others' successes. Over time, this creates a reputation that precedes them. People think of them first when new opportunities arise, not because they asked, but because they gave. Generosity is also powerful because it expands your perspective. When you focus only on yourself, your world becomes small. But when you give to others, you begin to see beyond your own needs and problems. This expansion creates space for abundance, and abundance attracts abundance. Scarcity clings, abundance flows. The more you give, the more you reinforce the belief that there is always enough, and that belief itself becomes magnetic. Ask yourself, am I living with a clenched fist, holding tightly to what I have, or with an open hand, willing to share? Who in my life could benefit from my encouragement, my knowledge, or my time? What doors could I open for others that might, in turn, open doors for me? Generosity is not weakness, it is strength. It shows confidence, abundance, and vision. And the truth is, the most successful people are often the most generous because they understand that wealth, wisdom, and opportunity grow when shared. Remember this, every act of generosity sends out energy, and energy always returns. The more you give, the more magnetic you become. Not because you're chasing opportunities, but because you're creating them, both for others and for yourself. Generosity is not loss, it is multiplication, and when you live generously, opportunities will find you again and again. Chapter 21. The Power of Vision. Every great achievement begins not with action, but with vision. Vision is the ability to see beyond where you are, to imagine a future that does not yet exist, and to hold that picture in your mind until it becomes real. It is the blueprint of opportunity, the magnet that pulls you forward, and the light that guides you when the path grows dark. Without vision, effort becomes scattered, and opportunities remain unseen. With vision, every step gains direction and momentum. Too many people drift through life without vision. They react to circumstances, follow the crowd, and settle for what shows up rather than pursuing what they truly desire. Without vision, life feels aimless. You work hard, but it feels like running in circles. Opportunities may pass by, but without a vision, you don't recognize them, or worse, you don't know what to do with them. Vision is powerful because it gives meaning to discipline, persistence, and sacrifice. Why wake up early? Why keep going after setbacks? Why say no to distractions? The answer is always vision. When you have a clear picture of the life you want, every decision becomes easier because every choice is filtered through the question, does this move me closer to or further from my vision? Think of vision like a compass. Even when the terrain is rough, the compass points north. Vision doesn't remove the obstacles, but it keeps you oriented toward your destination. When others get lost, vision keeps you moving in the right direction. Some of the most magnetic leaders in history were not necessarily the smartest or the strongest. They were the ones with the clearest vision. Martin Luther King Jr. didn't just fight for change. He shared a vision of a world where equality was possible. Steve Jobs didn't just build computers. He envisioned technology as art, shaping the way we live and create. Vision is contagious. When you carry it with clarity and passion, people feel it. They are drawn to it, and with them come opportunities that help bring it to life. But vision is not magic. It requires nurturing. You must take time to clarify what you want. What kind of life do you want to live? What impact do you want to make? What opportunities would align with your deepest values and passions? If your vision is vague, your attraction will be weak. But if your vision is vivid, specific, and inspiring, it will act like a magnet, pulling people, resources, and opportunities into your orbit. Here's the challenge. Vision must be held even when reality contradicts it. There will be seasons where nothing looks like your dream. The temptation will be to let go, to shrink your vision to match your circumstances. But those who attract the greatest opportunities are those who hold on to their vision even in the darkest times. They keep moving forward, trusting that the picture in their mind is more powerful than the obstacle in their way. Ask yourself, do I have a clear vision for my future, or am I drifting without direction? Can I describe what I want with clarity, or do I only know what I don't want? Am I living by reaction, or am I guided by vision? The power of vision is this: it transforms your life into a story you are consciously writing instead of a script handed to you by the world. It turns you into a magnet for opportunities because the clearer your vision, the clearer the signals you send. And when your signals are clear, the right opportunities recognize you immediately. Remember this: people without vision wait for life to tell them who they are. People with vision tell life what it will become. Carry your vision boldly, nurture it daily, and let it guide your steps. For when vision meets persistence, patience, and discipline, opportunities don't just come, they align perfectly with the future you've already seen. Chapter 22: The Weight of Integrity. Integrity is one of the heaviest responsibilities you will ever carry, yet it is also one of the greatest magnets for opportunity. Integrity means wholeness. It is the alignment between your words, your actions, and your values. When who you are on the inside matches who you show on the outside, you become trustworthy. And trust is the foundation on which every lasting opportunity is built. Opportunities do not chase talent alone. They chase character. People may admire your skill, but they only invest in you, follow you, or recommend you if they trust you. And trust is fragile. It takes years to build, but only moments to break. This is why integrity carries such weight. Without it, opportunities slip through your fingers no matter how skilled or connected you are. With it, even small opportunities can multiply because people know you are someone who can be counted on. Integrity is powerful because it communicates reliability. When you say you will do something and you follow through, you create a reputation that precedes you. Your name becomes associated with honesty, consistency, and dependability. That reputation is magnetic. It draws people toward you because they know you won't compromise your values for convenience. But integrity is not tested when things are easy. It is tested when things are hard. It is easy to be honest when there's no cost. The real test comes when telling the truth risks rejection, when doing the right thing delays your reward, when keeping your word feels inconvenient. In those moments, integrity feels heavy, but every time you choose it, you send a clear signal to the world: I can be trusted with more. And opportunities flow to those who prove they can carry responsibility with integrity. History is filled with examples of people who lost everything because they abandoned integrity for shortcuts. Talent opened doors for them, but lack of character closed those doors just as quickly. On the other hand, there are countless stories of people who built extraordinary influence, not because they were the most gifted, but because they were the most trustworthy. Integrity also builds internal strength. When you live in alignment with your values, you walk with confidence. There is no fear of being exposed, no need to hide, no anxiety about being caught in a lie. Integrity creates peace within, and peace is magnetic. People are drawn to those who carry themselves with quiet strength, because that strength is rare in a world where compromise is common. Ask yourself, do my actions align with my words? Do I keep my promises, even the small ones? Am I living by my values or bending them to fit convenience? How do people describe me when I am not in the room? These questions reveal whether integrity is lifting you up or weighing you down. The weight of integrity is real, but it is a weight worth carrying, for when you bear it faithfully, you become a person others can build with, believe in, and entrust with greater opportunities. Without integrity, your magnetism fades quickly. With it, your magnetism becomes unshakable. Remember this: skill may get you noticed, but integrity keeps you trusted, and trust is the currency of opportunity. Carry integrity well, and you will never lack for doors to walk through. Chapter 23: The Courage to Lead. Leadership is not about titles, positions, or authority. True leadership is about influence, responsibility, and courage. It is the willingness to step forward when others hold back, to take responsibility when others avoid it, and to guide with vision when others are lost. Leadership is not reserved for CEOs, politicians, or generals. It is for anyone who dares to make a difference. And when you embrace the courage to lead, opportunities naturally find their way to you. Why courage? Because leadership is never easy. To lead is to stand out, to make decisions, and to face criticism. It means carrying the weight of responsibility not only for yourself, but for others. Many people shy away from leadership because they fear judgment, failure, or the discomfort of standing alone. But the world is hungry for leaders, people who will step up when others stay silent. And because true leaders are rare, they are magnetic. Opportunities flock to them because leadership creates momentum. Leadership begins with self-leadership. If you cannot lead yourself, your habits, your emotions, your time, you cannot expect others to follow you. Self-leadership is discipline in action, vision in practice, and integrity in motion. When people see that you live by the standards you set, they respect you, and respect is the seed of influence. But leadership also requires serving others. The strongest leaders are not those who demand to be followed. They are those who lift others up. They ask, how can I help you grow? How can I make you better? How can I create an environment where you thrive? This kind of leadership is magnetic because people are naturally drawn to those who make them feel valued and empowered. Courage is at the heart of leadership because every decision carries risk. The leader must sometimes act without certainty, make unpopular choices, or walk into the unknown. It takes courage to say, I will take responsibility, even if it costs me. That courage is what creates trust. People follow those who are brave enough to act, not those who play it safe. Think of the leaders who inspire you most. They were not perfect. They made mistakes, faced resistance, and carried heavy burdens. But they dared to step forward anyway. Their courage became contagious, inspiring others to act with bravery as well. That is the ripple effect of leadership. One person's courage unlocks opportunities not only for themselves, but for everyone around them. Leadership is magnetic because it creates direction. People and opportunities are drawn to clarity, and leaders provide it. When you step into leadership, you become a lighthouse in a sea of uncertainty. Others recognize your light, and with them come doors you could never have opened alone. Ask yourself, am I waiting for someone else to lead, or am I willing to step forward? Am I hiding from responsibility or embracing it? Am I choosing safety or am I choosing courage? Because opportunities are rarely handed to the bystander, they are handed to the leader. Remember this. The courage to lead is not about being fearless. It is about moving forward despite fear. It is about holding the vision steady when storms rise, about standing firm when pressure builds, and about lifting others as you climb. The world is waiting for leaders who will not just chase opportunity, but create it. Be that leader, and opportunities will never stop finding you. Chapter 24: The Language of Confidence. Confidence is not just something you feel inside. It is something you communicate to the world, whether you realize it or not. The way you speak, the tone of your voice, the words you choose, and even the pauses you take all reveal the level of confidence you carry. And here's the truth. Opportunities are drawn to confident communication. People trust those who sound sure of themselves, and that trust often determines whether a door opens or remains closed. The language of confidence is not arrogance, nor is it loudness. True confidence is steady, calm, and clear. It doesn't need to shout or dominate because it comes from an inner assurance. It shows up in simple ways: when you introduce yourself without shrinking back, when you share your ideas without apologizing, when you say, "I can," instead of "I'll try." Every word you speak is either strengthening your magnetism or weakening it. Think about the difference between someone who says, I think maybe I could do that, versus someone who says, yes, I can handle that. The first creates doubt, the second creates trust. People respond not only to what you say, but to how you say it. When your language carries confidence, others see you as capable, reliable, and worthy of opportunity. The language of confidence also involves body language. Your posture, your eye contact, your gestures. These speak louder than words. If your body says, "I don't belong here," opportunities will pass you by. But if your body communicates assurance, standing tall, making eye contact, taking up space, you become magnetic. You don't need to announce your worth. Your presence communicates it before you even speak. But here's the secret. The language of confidence doesn't begin in your mouth. It begins in your mind. If your inner dialogue is filled with self-doubt, hesitation, and negativity, it will leak into your outer words. That's why affirmations, visualization, and self-talk are so powerful. When you train your inner language to be confident, your external language naturally follows. Confidence also means speaking with clarity. Rambling, over-explaining, or filling every silence with words signals nervousness. Confident people are comfortable with silence. They speak directly, they state their thoughts clearly, and then they allow space for their words to land. Silence, when used well, is one of the most powerful tools of confident communication. Ask yourself, how do I sound when I talk about myself? Do I downplay my achievements with phrases like, "It's nothing," or "I just got lucky"? Do I hesitate, over-apologize, or soften my words to avoid judgment? Or do I speak with assurance, owning my strengths without arrogance? Remember this, the world listens not just to what you say, but to the energy behind your words. If you want to attract opportunities, let your language communicate belief in yourself. Stand tall, speak clearly, and let your words carry conviction. Because when you do, people won't just hear you, they'll believe you. And belief is what opens doors. Chapter 25: The Discipline of Daily Growth. Growth is not an event, it is a process. Too many people wait for big breakthroughs, dramatic moments, or sudden transformations. But true growth, the kind that attracts lasting opportunities, happens little by little, day after day. It is the discipline of daily improvement, of choosing to get just a little better every single day. Over time, those small steps compound into extraordinary progress. Think of a tree. It doesn't grow 10 feet in one night. Its growth is slow, steady, almost invisible, but because it grows every day, season after season, it eventually becomes strong enough to provide shade, shelter, and fruit. Your growth is the same. You may not notice the change in a single day, But daily growth creates a strength and magnetism that nothing can take away from you. The challenge is that daily growth requires discipline. It means choosing to learn when it would be easier to coast. It means practicing your craft when no one is watching. It means feeding your mind, stretching your skills, and strengthening your character, even when you don't see immediate results. Growth isn't glamorous in the moment, but it is what separates those who attract opportunities from those who are left unprepared when they arrive. Daily growth doesn't always require huge investments of time. It can be as simple as reading 10 pages of a book, practicing a new skill for 15 minutes, reflecting on your day, or asking one better question. The key is consistency. Growth is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. Neglect it, and it weakens. Train it daily, and it becomes unstoppable. Opportunities are drawn to those who are growing because growth creates readiness. Imagine two people presented with the same chance. One has been stagnant, waiting for opportunity to rescue them. The other has been growing daily, sharpening their skills, building their resilience, expanding their knowledge. Who do you think will seize that opportunity with confidence? It's always the one who prepared in advance through daily growth. Daily growth is also magnetic because it communicates humility. It says, I don't know everything, but I am committed to learning. That humility draws mentors, collaborators, and supporters into your life because people want to invest in those who are teachable. No one is attracted to arrogance, but everyone is attracted to a learner's spirit. Ask yourself, am I growing daily or am I waiting for growth to happen by accident? What small steps could I take each day to become just 1% better than yesterday? What books, practices, or disciplines could I commit to that would compound into extraordinary change over time? Remember this: opportunities don't ask if you're ready when they arrive. They simply appear, and you either rise to meet them or you watch them pass. Daily growth ensures that when the doors open, you're prepared to walk through them with strength and confidence. The discipline of daily growth is not about giant leaps. It's about faithful steps over weeks, months, and years. Those steps will carry you further than you ever imagined. And when others look at your life, they'll call it talent or luck. But you'll know the truth. It was the discipline of daily growth that made you magnetic all along. Chapter 26. The balance of ambition and contentment. Ambition and contentment often feel like opposites. Ambition pushes you forward. It whispers that there is more to achieve, more to create, more to explore. Contentment, on the other hand, grounds you. It reminds you to appreciate what you already have, to live with gratitude, to find joy in the present moment. Most people struggle with one or the other. They either chase endlessly without ever feeling satisfied, or they settle too soon and stop striving for growth. But the truth is, opportunity is most attracted to those who can hold both ambition and contentment in balance. Ambition without contentment creates restlessness. You could achieve everything you set out to accomplish, but if you never learn to appreciate it, you will always feel empty. You'll climb one mountain only to feel dissatisfied at the top and immediately rush toward another. Nothing will ever be enough because you never pause to embrace the gift of the present. Contentment without ambition, however, leads to stagnation. You may feel comfortable, but comfort without growth eventually dulls your spirit. You stop reaching, you stop stretching, and you settle for less than what you're capable of. Contentment alone becomes a cage, locking you into what is instead of what could be. The magnetic life is not found in extremes, it's found in balance. When you learn to live with ambition in one hand and contentment in the other, you move through life with both hunger and peace. You pursue more, not from desperation, but from inspiration. You are grateful for today while still preparing for tomorrow. That balance radiates calm confidence, and opportunities are drawn to it because it signals maturity. Think of it like breathing. Inhaling is ambition, the desire to draw in more, to expand, to grow. Exhaling is contentment, the ability to release, to rest, to be satisfied. You cannot live by inhaling only, nor can you survive by exhaling only. Life requires both. In the same way, ambition fuels your drive, while contentment keeps you grounded. Together, they create rhythm, flow, and balance. This balance also protects you from burnout. Pure ambition can drive you into exhaustion. Pure contentment can lull you into complacency. But when you combine the two, you create a sustainable pace. You enjoy the journey while still moving toward the destination. You celebrate progress while still striving for growth. You live with urgency, but not desperation. Ask yourself, am I constantly chasing, never satisfied with what I have? Or have I become too comfortable, settling for less than my potential? What would it look like to be deeply grateful for where I am while still hungry for where I'm going? The balance of ambition and contentment is not about choosing one over the other. It's about allowing both to live within you. Be content with the present, but ambitious for the future. Be grateful for what you have, but willing to grow into more. That balance is rare, and because it's rare, it's magnetic. People, opportunities, and success are drawn to those who live with both drive and peace, hunger and gratitude, vision and presence. Remember this: ambition gives you wings, contentment gives you roots. Wings without roots drift aimlessly, and roots without wings stay stuck in the same soil. But when you carry both, you rise steadily, securely toward the opportunities that are waiting for you. Chapter 28: The Ripple Effect of Contribution. At some point in your journey, success stops being about what you can get and begins to be about what you can give. Contribution is one of the highest forms of magnetism because it creates ripples far beyond your immediate reach. When you contribute, whether through service, mentorship, creativity, or generosity, you plant seeds in the lives of others. And those seeds grow into opportunities, not just for them, but often in ways that return to you multiplied. Think of a stone thrown into a still pond. The ripples spread outward, touching every part of the water's surface. Your actions of contribution work the same way. A kind word to someone discouraged can lift their spirit and change the way they show up in their work. Sharing your knowledge can equip someone to seize an opportunity they would have missed. Supporting someone in their time of need can strengthen a bond that later becomes a door opening for you. Contribution is never wasted, it always moves outward, creating unseen effects. The beauty of contribution is that it shifts your focus from scarcity to abundance. When you give, you are declaring, "I have enough." That energy of abundance is magnetic. People sense it, they trust it, and they are drawn to it. Scarcity clutches, hoards, and withholds, and as a result, it repels. Abundance flows, shares, and contributes, and as a result, it attracts. Contribution also creates legacy. Long after your accomplishments fade, it is the lives you touched that will carry your name forward. People may forget your titles, your possessions, or even your awards, but they will remember how you made them feel, how you lifted them, and how you contributed to their growth. And legacy itself is an opportunity, one that continues to expand even when you are no longer there to see it. But contribution doesn't always look grand. It doesn't require wealth, fame, or power. It can be as simple as mentoring someone just beginning their journey, volunteering your time, creating something of value for others, or showing kindness in daily interactions. Small contributions compound into extraordinary impact. The key is not the size of the act, but the sincerity behind it. And here is the paradox. The more you contribute, the more opportunities you attract. Not because you demand them, but because people naturally want to support those who support others. Contribution builds reputation, trust, and goodwill. The invisible currency that opens doors when you least expect it. Ask yourself, am I only focused on what I can gain, or am I also asking how I can give? Who in my life could benefit from my knowledge, my support, or my encouragement? What small contribution can I make today that might ripple outward in ways I'll never fully see? Remember this, contribution is not just about charity, it is about legacy. It is about living in such a way that your presence creates opportunities, not only for yourself, but for everyone around you. That kind of life is magnetic because the world is always drawn to those who make it better. When you commit to contribution, you don't just chase opportunity, you create it. and those ripples will carry farther than you can imagine, touching lives, shaping futures, and attracting blessings that only generosity can unlock. Chapter 29. The Practice of Reflection. In the rush to move forward, to achieve more, to seize the next opportunity, many people forget one of the most powerful practices for growth: reflection. Reflection is the act of pausing, looking back, and learning from your journey. It is not dwelling in the past. It is extracting wisdom from it. And the more you reflect, the more prepared and magnetic you become, because reflection transforms experience into insight, and insight attracts better opportunities. Think of life as a classroom. Every day offers lessons, but lessons unreviewed are lessons easily forgotten. Without reflection, you repeat the same mistakes, overlook your progress, and fail to notice the patterns shaping your future. With reflection, you gain clarity. You see what worked, what didn't, and what needs to change. This clarity becomes a compass, guiding you toward wiser decisions and sharper awareness. Reflection is powerful because it slows you down long enough to notice. We live in a culture addicted to speed, constantly moving, constantly doing, constantly chasing. But opportunities are often hidden in the details you miss when you're moving too fast. Reflection allows you to step back, breathe, and recognize the lessons woven into your victories and your failures alike. Some of the greatest breakthroughs come not from doing more, but from pausing to reflect. Athletes watch recordings of their performances to see how they can improve. Businesses review what went right and wrong after a launch. Leaders take time to evaluate their decisions so they can guide better in the future. Reflection creates improvement because it transforms activity into wisdom. Reflection also builds gratitude. When you pause to look back, you see how far you've come. You notice progress you once overlooked. You realize that what you once prayed for is now part of your daily life. That recognition strengthens your belief in your ability to keep moving forward, and it increases your magnetism because it grounds you in both gratitude and clarity. But reflection requires honesty. It's easy to blame others or excuse ourselves. True reflection means asking hard questions. Did I give my best effort? Where did I let fear control me? What habits served me and which ones sabotaged me? What opportunities did I miss because I wasn't paying attention? This kind of honesty can sting, but it is also the birthplace of growth. The practice of reflection doesn't need hours of silence or a retreat in the mountains. It can be as simple as taking 10 minutes at the end of the day to ask, what went well today? What could I have done differently? What did I learn? Over time, these small reflections create massive clarity. Ask yourself, do I give myself space to reflect, or am I always rushing to the next thing? What lessons from my past have I ignored because I never paused long enough to learn them? How might my future improve if I committed to regular reflection? Remember this: experience alone does not make you wiser. Evaluated experience does. Reflection is the lens that sharpens your vision, the pause that strengthens your progress, and the practice that transforms your past into preparation for your future. When you reflect consistently, you stop stumbling into opportunities blindly. Instead, you attract them with clarity because you have trained yourself to see, to learn, and to grow. Reflection is not a delay. It is an accelerator because it ensures that every step forward is wiser than the one before. Chapter 30. Becoming the Opportunity Magnet. Everything we have explored, mindset, clarity, confidence, resilience, patience, discipline, vision, generosity, reflection, has been leading here. Becoming an opportunity magnet is not about a single trick, a quick fix, or a lucky break. It is about becoming the kind of person who naturally draws opportunities because of who you are, how you think, and how you live. An opportunity magnet is not someone who chases desperately after every chance, hoping one will finally work. Instead, they create a field of attraction around themselves through their habits, their energy, and their character. They understand that opportunity is not something outside of them. It is something that responds to what they carry within. When you become magnetic, doors begin to open almost effortlessly. Conversations turn into connections, efforts turn into breakthroughs, delays turn into lessons, even setbacks turn into stepping stones. You no longer feel like you're pushing against life. Instead, you feel aligned with it, moving in rhythm with the opportunities that are meant for you. But here is the truth. Becoming an opportunity magnet is not a destination. It is a lifelong practice. Every day, you choose your mindset. Every day, you choose your habits. Every day, you decide whether to operate from fear or from faith, from scarcity or from abundance, from complaint or from gratitude. And those choices build the energy you carry, the reputation you create, and the future you attract. So ask yourself, who am I becoming through my choices? Am I living in a way that pushes opportunity away, or am I living in a way that draws it closer? Am I waiting for luck, or am I preparing with intention? Becoming an opportunity magnet means aligning every part of your life with your vision. It means thinking with clarity, acting with confidence, persisting with discipline, adapting with courage, and giving with generosity. It means reflecting on the past, learning from the present, and always keeping your eyes on the future. And most of all, it means living with integrity, because the most powerful magnet of all is trust. As you finish this journey, remember, opportunities don't chase you, you attract them. And the more you grow, the more you give, the more you lead, the more you reflect, the stronger your magnet becomes. Opportunities are already around you, waiting for recognition. When you live as an opportunity magnet, you don't just find them, you create them. The future is not something to wait for, it is something to attract. And you, with the right mindset, the right habits, and the right heart, have everything you need to become magnetic to the life you desire. So step forward, step with vision, step with discipline, step with gratitude, step with courage. And as you do, watch how the doors begin to open, not because you chased them, but because you became the opportunity magnet you were always meant to be. You have reached the end of this journey, but in truth, this is only the beginning. These chapters were never meant to be just words you listened to. They were meant to be seeds. Seeds of clarity, of courage, of discipline, of vision. Seeds that, if planted in your daily life, will grow into something extraordinary. Becoming an opportunity magnet is not about waiting for the world to hand you something. It is about becoming the kind of person the world cannot ignore. It is about standing tall in your confidence, walking in integrity, leading with vision, giving with generosity, and living with gratitude. When you choose to embody these qualities, you don't just prepare for opportunities, you create them. Remember, every great door that opens begins with something small, a thought, a choice, a conversation, a habit. And as you leave this book, your choices matter more than ever. Will you carry forward what you've heard, applying it in your relationships, your work, your growth, your dreams? Will you wake up tomorrow not waiting for opportunity, but attracting it through the person you are becoming? The truth is, you don't have to chase. You don't have to beg. You don't have to prove your worth to anyone. You are already worthy, already capable, already powerful enough to draw opportunities that align with your life's vision. What you do next determines how magnetic you become. So step out into your life with courage. Step into your day with clarity. Step into your relationships with gratitude. Step into your work with discipline. And trust that as you live with alignment, the right people, the right doors, and the right opportunities will meet you on the path. This is your time. This is your season. And from this moment forward, remember these words. Opportunities don't chase, you attract them. And now, you are ready to become the opportunity magnet you were always meant to be.